Have you heard people making lists of Christmas movies? I'm Bruce C.E. Fleming, Executive Director of the True 316 Foundation. Our website is true316.com. That's TRU316.com. Some say that Die Hard was a Christmas movie, and some say that, oh, no, Die Hard 2 was even more of a Christmas movie. I'd like us to think about one or two key verses from back in the beginning. Do we have any Christmas verses in the Garden of Eden? And the answer is, yeah, we do. Have you noticed? Some people say Christmas is found in just one verse. Actually, it's introduced in one verse and completed in a second verse. The verses are Genesis 3:15 and 16. The Proto-Evangelium is the label theologians have put on Genesis 3:15. They say that this verse by itself is the first announcement of the good news. Have you believed them? The first time I heard this, I felt very uncomfortable. Yes, I saw the foretelling of Jesus on the cross, where he was both wounded and victorious. But I felt it strange to claim that these words spoken to the serpent were a full orbed statement of the promise of the gospel, the good news. When my wife, Dr. Joy Fleming, later did her 7 years of research on Genesis 2 and 3 in the Hebrew text, the full statement of the gospel in these verses 15 and 16 clicked into place. The Proto-Evangelium only starts in verse 15. It's completed and confirmed in line 1 of Genesis 3:16. The woman and the man heard God's words to the serpent recorded in 3:15. They heard what the serpent heard. That was a definite yet incomplete statement of the good news. But then God spoke to the woman in 3:16. If you want to know what God says there in the Hebrew text, it's helpful to read the English translation in the King James Version or the New King James Version. There it's clear that God promised the woman she certainly would have conception. God spoke to her personally and promised that her offspring would crush the serpent's head. This is thrilling news. It's almost overwhelming. Not only would God crush the one who attacked them at the tree, but God would do it through the woman. This is the positive news from Eden. Though God's words to the two rebels contained news of curses for each of them because of what each had done, a curse because of the serpent's acts in 3:14 to 15. And God said to the man, cursed is the ground because of you in 3:17 to 19. God had no news of any curse for the woman, though, in 3:16. God didn't curse the woman in 3:16 or limit woman in any way. Yes, God had words of warning for the woman in the latter words of 3:16 about grief in raising children, about sinful ruling over by the man. But think of the events of the first Christmas. Think of the pre-Christmas joy of Mary upon receiving the news from the angel that she would conceive the promised one that Eve heard about. Think of the joy of the announcement 9 months later from the angels in the sky of Bethlehem on Christmas Eve. This joy was Eve's joy in the Garden of Eden back in the beginning. We go into detail about these Christmas verses and much more in the Book of Eden, Genesis 2 to 3. We also offer the Eden Workshop. You can learn more and even sign up by going to true316.com/workshop.